You let it go too long, and when it's like right before, it's gonna just make you shit your pants. You know that smell?
Mister, do I need to call an ambulance?
You guys know that smell?
All too well.
Welcome back to Alcohol Content. You're here with me, Austin. Yeah, I'm starting with me first this time. We got Ryan. We got Rick.
Cheers.
And we are here with another full-length episode. We are going to town this time with some ryes. We're mixing it up. So, Rick, what are we drinking right now? What's poured in our glasses?
You are drinking, well, what's poured in the glasses, you haven't drank it yet, is some old Overholt. So the whole concept, there's many different ryes, and I love me some ryes. I mean, I like that spice or whatever. So the idea tonight is sort of to do it in roughly $10 tiers and sort of step ladder up. We're not going crazy. I think we finish at $50 or something like that. But this old Overholt rye is like $19. It's 86 proof.
Yeah, let's slap this bad boy on the table.
So there you go.
Cool. That looks like an old-ass bottle. And that looks like an old grumpy man who's on the front.
Well, he is. He's an old German Mennonite. Okay. And old
Mennonapper.
Yeah.
Schmelly.
Real eccentric character.
Yeah, well,
Fuck, can they run?
no. So this was old Overholt was established in 1810. And so it's said that this is the longest running continuous American whiskey out there. So 1810, just think of how far back 1810 was. Now I know there's, lots of stuff in, 1792 when, it's like when Kentucky became a state or whatever, but this is the oldest running one. I mean, you still had, Thomas Jefferson's, alive and stuff like that. So anyway, this is a $19 one. I believe this is 86 proof. And it's going to be a bottom sort of the barrel in the teens. Priced rye.
German Mennonite distillery.
Well, it is now. Sense. It's been. That's how it started.
He went on Rumspringa. That's what it was.
Evidently.
And he never went back.
Yes. No. This is now Jim Beam produces Old Overholt brand, but they kept the brand alive. So I find that sort of interesting.
So the brand has existed for a very, very long time.
Yes. So now I'd love to hear from any of you out there that I've heard some really good things so it started in 1810. So in 2020, Old Overholt Jim Beam, using the Old Overholt name, produced 114 proof. Does that ring a bell? Jim Beam, Old Granddad, 114 proof. But it's rye, and it's about $30. I can't get it here. We can't get it here. I haven't found it ever. But it gets really good reviews from everything I've seen. Like for a $30 rye, it bats way above. This is not that. This is sort of their baseline, 86 proof or whatever. So they also have a bottled and bond too, which I can't find here.
Okay.
A bottled and bond.
So if you've ever had the 114 proof, let us know, what does it taste like, because that sounds pretty fun.
Where do we get it?
Yeah, where do we get it? And also the bottle and bond, send me a bottle because I want to try that.
Austin and his bottle and bond.
Yeah. Before we get to the notes, there's something different that's on the table. We got some rye bread.
We got some, so just thought we'd break up a little bit of rye bread to maybe sample. I mean, because it really does, especially if you get one of the actual rye, pieces of rye, and there's definitely...
You can taste the
rye grain in there for sure.
Yeah.
I love rye bread.
And so we're trying to kind of heighten the experience, give us more of a palate that's more palatable to ryes. So I'm excited. This is going to be interesting.
Also, it looks like pieces of bread that you feed ducks.
Yeah.
I thought I would break it up so you weren't taking a whole slather of it. So anyway, and honestly, the guys don't know. It's all ryes, right? They don't really know what it is because I listed a bunch of different ryes to them, so it sort of surprised me. But throughout this, I am excited. I want to talk about rye as a grain in the United States and the history. The history of rye in the United States, because it's pretty interesting little bit of tidbits.
So right off the bat, this isn't really hitting super heavy as a rye to me. This is
No.
tasting like almost like a clean caramely bourbon.
I love the nose, honestly. This is what, $20?
No, $19. It is so $19 teens, non-chill filtered. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Dude, for $20,
Yeah.
$19.99.
No, I haven't. Have you guys? I'm
I'll
still.
taste a
I'm
little
still
bit.
nosing.
So I will say on the nose, it's a little bit of shoe polish for me, but
Oh,
like,
really?
but like, you get a little whiff of the shoe polish, and you're like, oh, that's shoe polish, and then you're like, wait a second, let me smell it again, and then all of a sudden your nose is inside the shoe polish container, and you just keep smelling, and then when someone looks at you, you're like, wait, I wasn't smelling that. That's kind of what I'm getting. It's a good smelling shoe polish.
wow.
Smells pretty
And
good.
you said
Keep
you liked
smelling
it.
it
You
till
said-
you're high as
You said
hell.
Exactly.
You said you like the nose a lot.
I do. I don't get shoe polish. I think it's lovely.
Like, what are you getting? Because I'm not getting a whole lot. I'm not getting shoe polish, but I sort of stand what you're saying.
The ethanol is kind of simulating the burn of a shoe polish.
I get kind of a buttery.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I also rub butter on my shoes too. So
We're not going feet again. I hope, for God's sake.
we'll avoid.
Did you guys
that.
end up getting any?
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln sent us a message from the grave, and he said his feet are actually size 17. So
Whoa.
yeah,
He's a baller.
he's a big honker. He's got a big honking feet on there.
He's got a rye loaf.
Yeah. That boy's got a rye loaf on him.
Spicy boy.
Listen,
He
oh
puts
my-
his rye loaf inside his hat. That's where he hides it. It's like a snack for later.
Yeah.
blasphemy.
When he's
blasphemy to
upset with
American
Mary
history.
Todd.
Yes.
Well,
Who isn't upset
yeah, I
with
was
Mary
going
Todd?
to say Mary Todd was. Woo-hoo! She needed a little more old Overholt.
So we've talked about the nose. What are you guys getting on your tongue?
It's like oddly buttery to me.
Very, very buttery, butter pecan, a little butter pecan going on.
Buttercream.
Buttercream. No,
Croc skin buttercream.
No, very, very, not viscous buttery. Taste of nice, rich butter, verging into a little bit of butterscotch. It does not taste like there's a little spice there at the end, but it does not taste like a rye to me at all.
I would say Four Roses is. I would argue if I was to taste them blind, I would say Four Roses would be the
would
rye.
be the rye and not Old Overholt.
This is comforting, like,
But
not,
actually,
not peppery at all.
$19. I'm getting.
Oh, yeah,
down
it's
here I'm
good.
getting a little bit of white pepper or black peppercorn down here, but it's taken a while, and it's only 86 proof. This was also said, interestingly enough, Old Overholt was the favorite drink of Doc Holliday. So
Okay.
still to this day in Tombstone, Arizona, at the the local saloons, that are sort of the Western town saloons or whatever, you belly up and they give you Old Overholt, shots of Old Overholt.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Ulysses S. Grant, perhaps that's why he was not a good general and sent millions to slaughter in the Civil War.
Yeah.
But he was an old
Millions.
well,
Whoa.
600,000.
Yeah.
people died.
Yeah. Fact check.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Fake
about
Civil War denier
Let's
over
talk
here.
about the limbs that were cut off. We won't go there. And actually, I cannot prove this, but evidently, I read that JFK. This was his drink of choice. Was whiskey
Well,
of choice.
He's just throwing out American names.
They know what they were doing. This is solid.
Yeah.
Now, and honestly, I am really surprised at how easy drinking this is with how terrifying the label is.
It is.
The label looks like
Why-
a spoof
yeah.
of a shitty old dollar bill.
because that's so it's Old Overholt, and that was Overholt,
Yeah,
but
that
that's
looks like
an American.
medicine.
That's an Americanized name. His name was actually Oberholzer, so he was a German Mennonite.
Dude, he looks
Yeah.
like Krampus.
See,
The evil Santa
He
Claus.
doesn't. You know what? I'd take. Yes, he does, but I would take this over Basil Hayden, the picture of Basil Hayden.
it's like, have you ever heard of a smile
Well, that
there,
guy's a
Mr.
pedophile.
Overholt? Well, who names their kid Basil? You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, yes. So by the way, this is I'll talk a little bit about the history. This is again Jim Beam makes this. They purchased it and it's made in Kentucky
Solid.
or whatever.
Awesome
But
bottle.
it is considered don't fully know. I mean, I understand the difference between Pennsylvania rye and Maryland rye, but it did start in Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. That's where Old Overholt, originally distilled. And so it's a Pennsylvania rye. The basic difference in theory back in the day was the Pennsylvania rye used more rye. The Maryland rye used more. To be a rye, it's got to be 51% rye. But Maryland had more corn in the mash bill than Pennsylvania did. So anyway, it's really, really rich history for Old Overholt. And I now tasting this because I hadn't tasted this before. I am definitely hankering for the Bottle and Bond and then the 114. Which again, I think the Bottle and Bond came out in 2017. I can't find it here. And then the 114 is a 2020 release that they're continued with because of their 210 year anniversary.
Yeah. I will say, the final drink I just had, it brought the rye finally is coming in. I had the spice at the end.
What kind of spice are you getting? I'm getting more pepper than warming.
Yeah, for sure. This is pepper. I would say for me, this is a black pepper, like freshly ground black pepper. But I would like to try this against the 80 proof Old Granddad. Just to try the old man energy. Let's get that going.
Old man energy.
Yeah.
Let's
put them together.
Get that Walker energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in theory, this is gonna have more rye because it's got to have at least 51% to be a
low rye profile.
It does not. If you blinded me on this, I would not say that's a rye.
What do we got next?
We got it. We're coming. We're coming at you with a little. Bartenders are familiar with.
Oh.
The Rittenhouse Bottled and
Rittenhouse
Bond.
Rye.
Bottled and Bond. Heaven Hill product.
Alliteration. Gotta love it.
So this is 100 proof because it's Bottled and Bond. A lot of bartenders use this. This, in theory, is a very underrated rye.
100 proof.
100 proof, Bottled and Bond. So aged 4 years. Straight rye whiskey. 50. It is a barely legal rye. So to be rye, you have to have 51% rye. It is 51% rye, 39% corn, 14% malted barley. But they still say it's Pennsylvania style. That doesn't mean a whole lot now because if it was truly Pennsylvania style, it wouldn't have that much corn in it.
But it's Bottled and Bond.
It is Bottled and Bond. They use a number 3 char. And again, it's a Heaven Hill product. Bartenders... A lot of bartenders are going to use this for Manhattans and old fashions.
It makes sense with the 100 proof. You're going to want the higher alcohol content.
Trying this is a very good cocktail whiskey.
You tasted it?
Yeah.
So on the nose,
I don't totally love it on its own, but I can see how the rye comes through pretty boldly. It's got some sweetness, and then the proof comes through. So it's not super enjoyable to drink on its own, but I can absolutely understand why in a cocktail where you have other elements that can balance the drink out, it would be fantastic.
Like the smell though is really floral and almost like mountain air. It's really refreshing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go deep into floral, like caramel or butter like we did previously.
Is the rye, that rye. Rye tends to be depending on the rye and how it comes off, but floral scents, and then of course warming spices, pepper, things like that.
It's just like a breath of fresh air. It's like I'm getting the mountain air from it. It's a fun nose.
And you've tasted it clearly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the nose is very sort of bright. Yeah.
This definitely tastes like a Bottle and Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm getting much more richness on the taste, though.
I'm finding it to be light, actually.
No, I would still say it's light, but there's some richnesses in butterscotch caramel.
It's almost like it's kind of like a paintbrush, like just one stroke across my tongue, and it's like, and I have to try and gather the flavor just from one brush stroke. It's mostly it like goes across the front and back or front and middle palate, and then it kind of sticks around in the like it's on the side of my mouth.
Do me a favor. Have a little piece of the rye bread and then have a drink of it again. Because that's what I just did. And then this became more rich. I mean, there's some rye going on, everything you're talking about. But I got a lot more after I just taste that little taste of the rye bread. I definitely got more richness, caramely. No?
Yeah. So for me, I think the proof and the rye spice, that black pepper, intertwine together too much and make that part very spiky to me.
The proof and the rye?
And the rye, like the black pepper note from the rye.
Too elevated?
It's way too elevated, and they're playing off each other to elevate the other one. So I get it. It feels very hot to me, but it's not just 100 proof. Like, that's not that big of a deal. But the rye spice with that, and then nothing to balance it out, it seems very teetered to one direction.
It's a little fun though, because of that.
Not to me.
The good thing no one cares about your opinion, and they're here to listen to my thoughts on this bottle and bond rye. You
fucking fanboy. Bottled and bond, bitch.
Everyone loves the beard.
He's a bib.
Yep, I'm a bib.
He's
boy.
a bibber.
Slave to the bottled and bond.
I agree with your assessment. I find that it spikes, but I kind of like the numbing pepper feeling that it leaves on my tongue from both the alcohol and the rye. It spikes and it leaves it like kind of like abandons you a little bit, and it doesn't like mellow out or anything.
Yeah, because it just scorched your entire palate.
Sort of. But you like the experience and you like spiky stuff too.
And so that spike, the wood is super intense on the end. It's certainly there, but it's not like
super tanniny or whatever. Yeah.
I mostly am ending with the pepper, and it just kind of
the pepper goes on. I don't disagree with anything you said, and I also agree with Ryan. This seems like it's a really, really good cocktail bourbon.
Yes.
It doesn't mean if somebody poured me this, I'll drink it. But if I was given the choice of just sipping neat, old Overholt, or this one, I might take the old Overholt, just sipping neat. But this one would certainly hold up to all the sweetness you're going to put in drinks and things like that.
You know what's crazy? After the whole trial, I cannot believe Kyle Rittenhouse turned around and made a whiskey that fast.
Really quickly just took over all the bars.
Wow.
Now, I know I'm supposed to say something funny there.
That works.
Hey, nailed it.
But I'm going to decline because I'm an old man and I'm focusing on one of the rye seeds that just came up. And I cracked it open and went, yeah, exactly the back palate. Exactly the back palate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. We can kill that joke. That's fine.
Oh, wow.
Bury it.
Wow.
Just like those 2 or 3 people.
That's
okay.
Spicy.
They weren't good people.
Shots
it's fine.
fired.
Everyone knows that. Yeah, shots were fired.
What's happening
It's
here?
all been hashed
I don't know.
out.
What's
I don't know.
happening?
I'm
It's
trying
all
to
been
move
hashtagged out in court.
This is a current event.
And he's talking about
podcast.
old Overholt looking sort of menacing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. That's a Mennonite, a German Mennonite.
He is like the price of the bottle represents like you are paying for the experience of a judgment. Like, welcome to Judgment Day. Overholt is going to judge you.
Yeah.
You're gonna drink this shit.
Oberholzer.
Oberholzer.
It's like the what is Nietzsche called the Overman? It's like that's Overholzer. He's the Overman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just pulled out some philosophy.
Out of context, misplaced, but hey,
I nailed it.
yeah, I nailed it. Oh my goodness gracious!
So, what's the third?
what
rye?
sort of Jungian archetype are you right now?
Yes, exactly.
He's on his hero's journey.
God is dead.
Yes,
Okay.
Exactly. How do you feel about your mother?
Right, Freud.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're
No matter what you say, you want to fuck her.
Oh Lord.
That's Freud. That's
yeah,
all
this
Freud.
is getting a little crazy for me.
Yeah. According to the search history of America,
And Freud.
question mark.
Good
And
thing
Freud.
he didn't have a search history.
Oh boy.
Ew.
So here we go.
Freud.
Here's some Sazerac,
Ooh.
baby Saz as they call it, because it's not the 18-year allocated. It's Sazerac Rye.
Not part of the
Right.
BTAC, the Buffalo
So
Trace
it's
Antique
Sazerac
Collection.
Rye. So it's 90 proof. It's $28. I think I forgot to mention this. Rittenhouse is $26 here. This is 28. So I'm sort of counting this as like verging on a 31, if you will. So teens, 20. We can get this here for 28. I know some places this is actually sort of hard to find. We don't really have a problem with finding it here.
Yeah.
It's baby Saz. It's 90 proof. It's a low. They're not transparent. But it's a low rye mash bill. I mean it's rye, so it's 51%. That'd be
not
my
super
guess.
high over that.
Right. It's 51%.
Well,
It's crazy how that yeast note
the Buffalo
comes through
Trace
on this.
Yeah.
On not necessarily the nose,
Oh.
but definitely the taste. Like that kind of cherry wood.
I feel like
What the
you're
hell?
jumping ahead of the order of operations. Okay.
No, I did it. I did 'em.
I need you to tell me what you smell first.
You're just slow.
And then tell me what you taste. So this tastes like a
thinking about
Buffalo
his
Trace
mom
product.
yet.
I smell that I'm gonna taste the yeast.
Evidently, I'm not sure. I guess you're the one that brought up philosophy. And so I don't know.
It's my fault. It's
is.
my fault.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, the first time I had Sazerac Rye, Alex, you bought me a shot of Sazerac Rye. Love you.
So this is the rye that's obviously most often used in the New Orleans Sazerac drink, Sazerac Rye, and truthfully, that's how this all got founded. It was in New Orleans or whatever. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been a fan of Sazerac Rye. Cool bottle, I like the bottle, all that type of stuff. But just nosing and just a little sip, it's like it's drinking and smelling better than I sort of remember it. Again, 90 proof. It's a Buffalo Trace product. They're allocated. Large Sazerac is 18-year. This is rumored to be 4 to 6 year, but really sort of the same mash bill, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as the 18-year.
I've also heard that the Sazerac 18 is one of the worst of all of the antique collections.
Yeah,
Oh.
I've never had that. I've had some of the antique collection, but I've not had the Sazerac.
So this is really interesting. Is it almost wants to take a vanilla turn
On the taste or nose?
on the taste. It starts to go the vanilla, kind of the cliche bourbon vanilla caramel. But then once you start tasting vanilla, it actually hangs mid palate.
And
And
then
it stops, and it's kind of like, it was surprising. It was and unexpected.
To me, this tastes like a slightly rye version of Buffalo Trace, regular Buffalo Trace, but it's better than regular Buffalo
yes.
Trace. Like the rye version that they did works better with that profile. Because the little bit of spice that they have in there, and it's not a lot, kind of cuts through how kind of creamy and heavy most of Buffalo Trace's products are.
But this does have some cream to it.
It does, but it is a little offset by the rye.
Yes.
Which is nice.
I would say this
still
is
like the old Overholt better.
And I think Sazerac Rye, out of context, is a great bottle. I actually really enjoy this. But what's the price again, Rick?
here $28, but
Okay, so that's
many
not too
places
bad.
30, 32, and some places you can't. Yeah, it's hard to find.
Probably worth having one.
Yeah.
But it's not worth like freaking out over.
Let's put it this way:
if you can't find it.
this is the one and only bottle of Sazerac Rye I've ever owned.
Okay.
So that tells you something. I think the bottle is cool, and the first couple sips I had was like, oh, I'm going to give this another shot here. But this sip 3 and 4, it's like, nope, there it is. I don't care for it. Me personally.
I don't care for the nose, but the taste is kind of fun.
This is doing much better in my mind than the last time I had Sazerac. The last time I had Sazerac, I was like, whoa, this does not work at all. I think coming off of the Kyle Rittenhouse, it helps it. It's more balanced than this for sure, the Rittenhouse one. But I still think that Overholt beats both of those.
For pure neat drinking, I would
enjoyment,
take for neat drinking. Again, many of these lower priced ryes are made for cocktails.
So I like the wood on the Sazerac Rye.
It's interesting.
I find it. So last time I had this, it was in a bar. Like I said earlier, someone bought it for me.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex did. And I enjoyed it. But here, against other ryes and stuff, the wood is stand out on the back end of the palate and the back end of the, I've been sitting with it for a little bit. It's still there, tanniny. But the wood does not overpower, and I think it's a natural it's a natural transition from the kind of strange almost vanilla, then like kind of disperses, and then it just goes into, it's an interesting experience. But I would have this over the Rittenhouse Rye for sure. I like the Rittenhouse Rye. Neat for sure. I would take this. This is so far is probably something that's up my alley, which is more of an experience. The old Overholt I would take over the Rittenhouse as well.
Neat.
But the the Sazerac Rye though, I like that creaminess, and you explained it really well, Ryan, where it balances itself with the pepper, the wood, the creaminess. It all comes together, and it feels like this is what Buffalo Trace. Maybe people think this is what Buffalo Trace is supposed to taste like.
It's where the standard Buffalo Trace bottle falls flat.
Yes.
And this provides that extra little component that's like, oh, okay, we're going to balance out what was heavy-handed in the regular Buffalo Trace.
When you mentioned just their flagship Buffalo Trace bottle, there's a lot of same characteristics.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of I love Buffalo Trace's distillery and many great products, but their Buffalo Trace flagship bourbon, I'm not the biggest fan of. And this reminds me a lot of it. You're right. There's a few things that try to cut through.
I would put this above
and in all
that.
honesty, with the Sazerac, I drink or whatever, perhaps. I mean, that's what, it's traditionally made with. But sipping wise,
yeah,
I would take this. Yeah. I still am thinking craft cocktails.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Rittenhouse with the proof, 100 proof.
In a Sazerac, the Rittenhouse actually might be better, ironically.
But yeah, there's something going on here. It's definitely
say if
Buffalo
you can find
Tracy.
the Sazerac Rye in $20, maybe early 30, like what it's supposed to be, I would
in
say
the
based on
$20 range, probably worth finding one.
I think so.
Getting one.
Well,
I'm enjoying it.
I love the bottle and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's really cool, and I have one.
Yeah,
It's just I don't make Sazeracs.
It's not your go-to.
it's
not your go-to.
also
No.
it's a more fit Dickel. That's like
and-
the George Dickel bottle. It looks similar, but just it's a little bit more slim. You
It's
know?
been working out
it's-
a little bit.
no,
He's doing a
it's-
little
it's-
P90X.
it's- yeah,
you
like
know?
maybe
but here's
2
the
months
thing,
into
and I
working out.
love my ryes. I love my ryes, and this just is a sort of like a distant echo. I don't think of this when I think of ryes.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of my standout ryes that I've had, this holds none of those qualities.
I think it stands separate because it doesn't fit the normal bill of a rye because of its strange vanilla. It plays a little bit with your mind in the mid palate, and I think it's a little bit down or up. It could depend on what mood you're in.
Well, and also palates are different,
Yeah.
days are different. I mean, this is consistently not going to be my favorite rye because there's so many good ryes.
So many green. Oh, actually, that's actually kind of funny. None of these are green.
Yeah.
And
of
we were
these.
talking. I don't
That
remember
green-
when we were talking.
Well,
but,
let's break that
oh
habit.
my gosh! Way to make me eat my words.
Well, no, I mean you're
Eat the
you're
rye.
right.
Eat
I mean,
the rye. I'm
Overholt,
eating the rye.
come on,
I'm
1810,
sorry.
1810. They're not gonna. They couldn't even produce green in 1810.
So we got Michters, huh?
We have a Michter's, yes. Michter's, now this is single barrel, Kentucky Straight Rye whiskey. Now we're going a little bit, well, it's for 84.8 proof. So
That's
it's
it?
a little down in proof.
Oh man.
Now they have a barrel strength that is to die for, at least in my
So-
opinion.
I have had the barrel strength. I have never had this.
It's been a long time since I've had this. I actually just cracked this bottle. So it's Michter's Kentucky Straight Rye, 84.8 proof. And then this is sort of funny. Distilled in small batches according to the Michter's pre-Revolution War quality standards dating back to 1753.
Sounds like a bunch of British nonsense.
Yeah, but it is single barrel. So each one's going to differ a little. And this is here, $45, $46. So I'm counting this one as teens. This is 20s. Here, this is high 20s. I'm going to count it as 30s, right? It's high 20s. And then this is 40. So teens, 20s, 30s, 40s.
Just from the perspective of the bottle, like I don't know, I'm getting an Irish vibe. Like what is Michter's? What do you guys think that's from?
Michter's? Well, it was originally Schenk, Schenk, and I believe that's German, and it was about 60 miles out of Philadelphia. So again, a Pennsylvania rye to begin with.
Okay.
Pittsburghy, within Pittsburgh, the Monongahela, I can't say it, river or whatever. All those rivers, the confluence of all those rivers. So this is a Pennsylvania. I'm not saying it is now. This is made in Kentucky, Michter's. But Shanks started it, which we've had Shanks, which is, talk about a dessert whiskey. And then it was bought out by Baumburgers. And so Michter's plays homage to Shanks with a special release. And then they play homage to Baumburgers with a special release. We have both of those. Maybe we'll taste them sometime on air.
So we're talking about convoluted history.
Oh,
and
the history.
Homage to homage
Go
to
online
homage.
and read the history, and it reads like a soap opera.
Yeah.
It reads like a soap opera.
So
I first thought this smelled like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
really,
Wow. There's an element of that.
all right. I'm throwing back to an old episode.
Which, if you haven't watched, you won't
if you
get.
haven't watched, but you will because it's going to be up somewhere. Okay, one of the corners it'll say, the episode that you should
Old
watch.
episode.
Eggnog. But now think about this.
Which is why I said Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Now, so take that nutmeg. When you add in the really thick eggnog, there's kind of a funky smell to it. That is what comes off. It's not necessarily the eggnog itself. It's the back end of the eggnog smell. And I know this because I unfortunately am an eggnog fiend. But
What, did you let eggnog curdle in the fridge or something?
yeah, so like
eggnog cottage
if
cheese.
you let it go too long, and when it's like right before, it's gonna just make you shit your pants. You know that smell?
Mister, do I need to call an
Do you
ambulance?
guys know that smell?
All too well.
I will say it's funky. It's a little bit almost kerneled milk. It's there. I don't.
This smells thicker than a Snicker.
Yeah, I don't like the nose. I'm gonna be honest with you.
There's something
It's off to me.
There's a little touch of Cinnamon Toast Crunch or eggnoggy, but
It's
also
funky.
some grassy stuff going on for me.
Like you're allergic to grass. You know when you're allergic to grass and you smell it and you're like, I'm allergic to that.
Just histamines. Smells.
Wow.
No, honestly, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch in a bowl, but instead of milk, it's eggnog.
Yes,
That's what that smells
but
like.
And then
it's not
throw
cold
in some
eggnog.
mulch,
This is-
some
like you-
grassy mulch.
It's warm eggnog.
You poured it at like 8 a.m. and then you're
Yes.
smelling it at like 11:30.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, so go out and buy a bottle of curdled.
Now, it smells
Whoa.
great.
Yeah, so it's so good.
Let's what do you guys think?
Remember, it's going to be, the proof is only 84.8, but it is single barrel. So to be fair, this is going to be
this-
unique.
Yes.
Barely tastes like rye. Like there's a little bit.
Oh,
of
I get a
that.
little mint. I get ooh,
More mint than pepper.
but time out. After the mint, I'm getting some caramely stuff going on and stuff though too. Ooh,
Okay.
ooh, ooh,
So I'm gonna take your ooh,
ooh. That's interesting.
and I'm gonna say, I respect the fact that you're oohing. Okay, I respect it.
I'm gonna
But I'm gonna step back a little bit and go, no, thank you, because
Is it Woody for you?
no. Ugh.
No Woody Harrelson.
Hold on. Whoa.
Woody
This is-
Harrelson?
This is growing.
There's a little
into
Woody
my-
Harrelson.
It's expanding into coffee.
Coffee.
Yes. We literally just went through the exact
Yeah.
same transition.
Well,
That
okay, I'll let
was
you
a strange turn of events
Well,
because all of a sudden
explain
it was
that.
like,
as you were talking.
explain
And
that.
as you were talking, I went through the same thing.
Okay, go
I'm
through
talking
that.
about
What do
black coffee. This
you- no,
isn't.
but go through the progression. What's happening?
So what I experienced was something that it was more like toothpastey, minty.
There's a little mint, a little
wasn't
mint,
like-
a little dill going
Yeah.
on early on.
Almost, I would actually remove the mint and I would say mouthwash.
Listerine.
Yeah, and then, so I didn't care for it, and then it started growing, and it was just like black coffee. Welcome to freshly ground. You're making an espresso, just the espresso of coffee.
See, taking another sip, it's almost like it's a like creamered coffee.
Yeah.
And then as you just let it sit in your mouth, it goes less and less creamer as it goes on to the point of being just black coffee.
So that's sort of interesting you say that. I get
A vanilla latte.
I get a little bit of pine sol up front. Not
Pine sol.
not the most pleasant. I mean, when I say that minty,
Ooh.
you're saying mouthwash. I get a little pine sol-y crap going on there. But then it turns to a little bit of caramel macchiato or something, then coffee, then creamed coffee,
and then a little bit of mocha.
and then the very, very end, I'm not sure.
I will say,
You're going to love this because just what I just described is an experience, right? So it's
yeah,
like,
I don't like the front palate of this. No, thank you.
Especially for how like hot it is
Yeah.
for being 86 proof. or
no, that
whatever.
front palate. Pine sol.
84.
No,
It's
thank you.
84 proof.
Pine sol.
I gotta respect though. I'm throwing some respect. That back palate.
Oh, it shines.
That's like beer status. This is
shines.
This is like a stout
Porter.
bringing in that coffee flavor. Like
I'm getting caramel
What the hell is going on
macchiato, then
here?
Like a
coffee,
malted
then
barley
creamed coffee.
porter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not what it starts with.
and I enjoy my coffee. I'm a coffee snob.
Yeah,
I make
well
my own. I
established.
make AeroPress.
Besides
okay?
loving his mom.
I grind my own. I grind my own beans in the morning. I do it for work. Yeah.
Is there oat milk
I
involved?
used to make espresso, but it's a little bit too much for my job. I was just like, I'm gonna make AeroPress, which is, I'm getting there. This tastes, yeah, Rick.
AeroPress.
Grow up, okay? It's time to drink some real coffee.
What is AeroPress?
Exactly.
What is AeroPress?
I don't know.
The coffee.
The last time I heard Arrow something, it's the shirt that Custer wore. It's an Arrow shirt.
Okay. So
Wow. Sorry.
I'm talking about the whiskey here, Rick.
Sorry.
I'm talking about the goddamn whiskey.
What is AeroPress? I don't even know what.
Yeah.
Is
Mixed
that-
air and pressure. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
It makes great coffee.
Okay.
Thank you, because I
Okay.
really love
Is that
the
French?
AeroPress.
French made.
No, it's not fucking French.
Oh, okay.
What is going on here? Amateurs.
Just so you know, I drink something different than Folgers in the morning. It's Maxwell House. No, it's not. No, it's not. I get
Why are
good-
you hating on my Folgers?
I get good beans. I just didn't know of AeroPress or whatever.
All right.
What do you get your iron out and do something with the coffee or something?
So-
I'm pressing the coffee.
Now that
beans.
everyone knows how cool I am,
I'd like to iron out
Let
this
me-
episode.
Let me explain
Wow.
to you.
Yeah, please.
I think the
Pine Sol to unbelievable. How does this
Pine
happen?
Sol to the different stages of coffee. You know, like you said, cream coffee. We have black coffee.
I had a little
I
caramel
would say
macchiato.
Caramel
I've never had
macchiato,
that, but that's what it tastes like.
Mocha.
Macchiato.
I would say a light mocha.
Macchiato.
Light
Sorry.
mocha. It's weird. This takes you through the stages of different coffees in the mid to back palate. The front palate is terrible. I do not like the front palate. The smell, no, I'm not a fan of.
But
Too funky.
Midway through, you're saying this is glorious.
Absolutely. This is unique.
Redeems itself.
Totally redeems itself.
I would give this to somebody and be like, hold on, wait for it. Wait, hold on. Take another drink. All right, now wait for it. Now, did
How
you have
do
a
you feel?
Exactly. How do you feel? Are you awake? Are you caffeinated?
Yep.
How do you
So-
know that could be part of their like immense talent? Like hit them with Pine Sol cleaner. So that anything that would come with after that is like, oh, that's glorious.
Make them really uncomfortable. Okay. Make them really like hate the fact that they're drinking whiskey right now.
I feel like this whiskey is negging me.
Oh Lord! Now remember, this is $45.
I never put this in a cocktail, by the way.
no.
Dear God.
No. You put it in coffee.
$45.
Oh, you're just putting, honey. All this is doing is reminding you were supposed to clean the bathrooms today.
Yeah. And also, you forgot to get that coffee for me, by the way.
No, they're. I mean, I'm not sure I'm following all. I'm clearly not.
Yeah,
the
you're not
coffee
as
hound that I am.
educated as I am, but it's
am
okay.
picking up that it's coffee. There's creamered coffee. There's a little caramel in the coffee, and that's all mid palate back for
Yeah.
me. Everything prior to that for me,
no,
not
thank
so not so much. But it does sort of. I don't know if it totally redeems itself, but it sort of redeems itself.
I will say it stamps itself as really freaking interesting.
It's unique for sure.
yeah. So
And it's been a long
respect.
time since I've had this.
I will say a little bit. I'm giving them some respect. Second tasting.
I gotta test something.
Here, I'll give you some of mine.
No thanks.
The more I taste it, the quicker the Pine Sol is gone, and the more than that
Yeah.
other stuff kicks in.
It's an acquired taste, the Pine Sol. I really like when my whiskey starts out with a little bit of freshy mintness. And
Well,
then,
no, I like mint. We're not talking mint here.
we're talking alcohol is cleaning your
Pine
teeth.
Sol.
Yeah. If you got wood teeth like George Washington, this will really like just
Clean 'em.
make them shine.
Clean them.
What it's like to chew 5
You don't need
gum.
crest strips.
Yeah,
don't
this
need
is
crest
5 gum
strips.
status.
So
What's the next
I'm,
bottle?
well, no, I'm
What
just
is the
I'm just
next
I'm just
bottle?
throwing this out. Michter's from go online, try to find stuff. They're not transparent at all. Their history reads like a soap opera. Not
Keeping
that
up with the Kardashians.
Not that means anything about the liquid in it or whatever.
Not that
but the
that
one
means
thing that I
anything about the
did, so they're
Kardashians.
not transparent with their mash bill or anything like that. But the one thing I did sort of find, if it's accurate, that I found very interesting is that they only distill to 138 proof instead of the traditional 160 proof, which is maximum. And then they barrel at 103 proof, which is extremely low barreling. They water it
Interesting.
down to 103 proof. I read that. Don't know if it's accurate. Michter's, if you would be more transparent, we'd know. So maybe I'm holding a little grudge because their lack of transparency, and they were getting sourced for years and until they were almost getting in trouble. But they do produce some good stuff. Like I said, the Shanks. I have several bottles of that. The Bombergers, I love them all. I know the 10-year of this is, hard to get, but it's solid. This,
The 10-year, dude. I'm not spending $300.
No. I'm not spending $300.
Did you just say $300 for the
no,
10-year?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not doing that.
Michters?
So anyway,
I'm done.
I sort of
This relationship is over.
I sort of cut you off.
$100 for the barrel strength.
Teens,
Oh, my Lord.
Teens, mid-20s,
Who do they think they are?
old Overholt,
Yeah.
teens, Rittenhouse, bottled in bond, mid-20s, $24, $25. Sazerac,
30.
$30.
We'll give it
That'd be
30.
yeah, exactly. $45 for
All
the
right.
Michters.
Now, so are we on our final bottle?
We're moving to the final bottle, yeah.
Let's do it. I'm ready. So
Would you buy a Michters or not with your unique experience?
I would not.
I don't think I would
Absolutely
either.
not. I would skip it, and I would go to our 100 proof Old Forester. I would go back to the $20 range. I would skip the rye altogether and ignore Michters.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it, Rick. Thank you for spending the $45 for me to taste it. I wouldn't buy that bottle. Sorry, Michters.
It's interesting, but the interesting doesn't quite redeem to the point of
Yeah.
spending that much money. Which, honestly,
If the front end was good,
but almost everything that I've had from Michter's is pretty solid, but it doesn't quite match the price.
yeah.
Like the price is always just to that point of like, what would I
It
really
is a
spend
single
that?
barrel, so it makes the price ends up making sense.
Let's be fair. Single barrel, so the next
But does
one
the
could be a little bit
experience
different.
Make
yeah.
sense.
No.
Does my
So, but you
enjoyment-
love your experiences, Austin, and you're still saying
was interesting.
You're not sure that you'd buy. You probably wouldn't
If you
buy.
have this bottle, you should let people try it. I don't think I would buy it. There's just so many better
so
bottles.
even with your coffee snobbiness and stuff, that it halfway through the palate starts the coffee thing.
For me, it's like show me your front end because I like your back end. Let's get the
Listen
whole,
here, pervert.
Let's get the whole package. Let's get the whole package.
This
Okay.
guy.
You know the junk in the trunk's good.
Yes. But
okay.
the front end really it's kind of abysmal. So, what is our last bottle?
So it is Pikesville Straight Rye Whiskey, 110 proof. So we definitely jump up in proof.
Wow, yeah, we do. I
And
just
it's a
did taste
Maryland.
on
It's
that.
a Maryland, traditionally a Maryland whiskey. Traditionally, it is a Heaven Hill product. You not like it?
It's interesting.
Did you already
It's
taste
gonna-
I
it?
just tasted it.
I'm describing.
I know,
He's
I'm
already
sorry.
drinking like
I'm going hard on it.
It's gonna take a couple drinks coming
Yeah,
from
so-
literally an 84
Exactly.
proof.
So go ahead and explain. Let me know about Pikesville.
So
while I-
Pikesville is a Heaven Hill product, right? And so it's a 50. It's a barely legal rye, 51%. And for us here, although it's a little bit hard to find sometimes, it's not hard to find, then it's hard to find. Then it's not hard to find. It's like the distribution is unequal here. But it is a Heaven Hill product. So guess what? It is the older brother to this. Heaven Hill.
Oh.
Heaven Hill. Same mash bill. Same mash bill.
between the Rittenhouse,
The
and
Rittenhouse bottled and bond to 110 proof. So 100
you-
proof bottled and bond, 110 proof. Oh, whiskey of the year. I don't even know. what
Oh,
year
it's
that
got
was.
it's got a tag. I mean,
Rye of the Year, number 2 World Whiskey of the Year.
So this is
Whoa.
for
Jim
so
Murray by Jim Murray.
Okay, so
Thanks,
Rittenhouse,
Jim Murray.
Rittenhouse is 4 years.
2016.
Rittenhouse has to be 4
Well
years
dated.
because it's bottled and
Yeah,
bond.
yeah.
I think it is about 4 years. This is rumored to be a little over 6 years, but same mash bill. Heaven Hill, Rittenhouse, Pikesville.
This is much better,
I
in
enjoy
my
the
opinion,
nose.
than the Kyle Rittenhouse. This is less interesting in a journey than the Michters.
The Pikesville is less interesting than Michter's.
Oh yeah, well you go from pine sol to good coffee.
Yeah.
So how's that?
Like literally your entire description of Michters, this is not that.
No, but it's got something going on.
Oh,
Yes.
it's got something
got-
going
yeah.
on.
It has a lot going on.
Yeah. Ooh. You know what's interesting? Is it teases the coffee. It teases the chocolate in the back end. I'm getting 0 wood. I'm getting. You know what would be interesting? You had the bread up here. I want to try like chocolate, like a rye scone. Like I don't even know why would you make that. I don't know, but give me a chocolate rye scone because I feel like this would deliver that flavor. It's interesting.
So
I don't think you know how to make scones.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to argue if you're a bourbon drinker and like turn your nose up at ryes, then this is if you're a bourbon drinker and turn your nose up at ryes, and in particular if you're sort of a higher proof bourbon drinker and turn your nose up at ryes, try Pikesville. That's what I'm going to say.
The deal's done. I've decided. Pikesville,
all the way or not? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking it.
Well, we haven't described many notes on it. We're describing we like
This
it.
is sweet. Delectable. It has a light rye, which is interesting. It's not heavy.
It's almost a bourbon.
Yeah. So it's actually great that we have a comparison. The Rittenhouse Rye, the Kyle Rittenhouse Rye. Well, it's super. It definitely has that pepper note. The 110 proof.
It's peppered.
Yeah, it's peppering. It's firing shots all over the place. The Pikesville 110 proof, same mash bill, is much more delectable.
Yes.
It is
luxurious.
It is desserty, and I find it to be more enjoyable than every other one that we've had so far. This is, I will say, we're coming from the Michters, which is a lower proof, and we're jumping up to 110
And
proof.
way sweeter.
Way
in a weird way, like thicker.
Yeah, but this Pikesville just has character. It's sweet. It's rye. It's all the things.
There are some rye things going on there.
Yeah.
Not dill and mint. I don't get
no.
dill and mint. But there's black pepper going
It's
on.
there.
But there's rich caramel and
Yeah.
richness going on there too.
Ryan was saying earlier, the bourbon, it is. It's actually kind of similar to the old Overholt.
It is just amped.
Yeah,
amped
this
up.
is the old Overholt, but like welcome to paying a little bit more money and what you get. Yeah,
Like having electricity and
exactly. This is what
Afghanistan.
happens when
in Afghanistan.
this
in
is what
Afghanistan.
what
Well, having electricity.
in Afghanistan.
Oh, I was thinking like Mennonite.
Yeah,
No, I'm
exactly.
thinking Afghanistan.
He's stuck on foreign policy.
hell?
This is a current
I
event
like my
podcast.
foreign policy. What can I say?
No, the Pikesville, it is not a Mennonite. They have electricity. They know how to distill some stuff.
You have John
fan.
Deere's. This is horses.
Exactly.
Although there's something to be said.
They got something.
I mean, fuck can they run?
So what do you guys got on the Pikesville?
I think this is a high proof person's bourbon lovers entry into rye if you think rye sucks. Right here.
And if you
'Cause
think
at
rye
50
sucks,
If it yeah,
You
you're-
might suck.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably suck.
Again, this is the same mash bill as Rittenhouse at 51, 39.10. So it's a barely legal rye. That's why it's sort of a bourbon drinker's entry into rye, in my opinion. And it doesn't have. I personally like sort of some dill notes and some mint notes. I find that interesting. It doesn't really have
it's
that.
missing.
No, but it does have the peppery. It doesn't have super floral. It's caramely. It's many rich bourbon notes, and then some black pepper and some spice.
I will say, on the taste, it has a little bit of perfumey, kind of a note.
Early on, yes.
Perfume.
Yep.
Kind of takes it for a
Not
little
French
bit.
whore, but still.
No, yeah. This is
Nothing against the French.
Yeah. It's
Or whores.
I mean, you do what you do.
Amsterdam horse.
You know?
Red light district.
I'm all about freedom. We're
Yeah.
here in America. Okay?
No, there's a
Or you
reason.
think you're free in America?
These Michters,
Go to Amsterdam.
these Michters, British assholes, okay?
British ass.
The colonizers, all right? They're the real colonizers, okay?
Okay.
So Pikesville was originally a Maryland rye in 1895, and I think it holds true to its name with Heaven Hill that has it now. It's 51% rye and then corn.
Heaven Hill makes good products.
Yeah, yes,
We
they
have
do.
decided that through many episodes.
So I think the Pikesville Rye is explosive. It is blast your palate in a good way
Yes, very much
on
so.
a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
This is not what I would want to drink regularly. This is a every once in a while, like, oh, okay. Like, let me just see what this is all about. Take me to the mountaintop.
I'd share it. I'd give it to
Yes,
somebody.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. For it, I would honestly say, I don't necessarily think we have to rank all these, but this is the most fun, crazy,
Agreed.
like well put together, but in your face.
Yeah.
I think the old Overholt is the most chill, fun, relaxing, easy to drink, but good and also well.
We're talking about drinking neat.
of
Yeah.
course.
Yes,
So-
yeah.
Of course.
All right. But we're drinking ryes here.
I love rum. My rye.
Now, we described the old Overholt as more of a kind of a bourbony, light on the rye. And the Michter's was also kind of light on the rye.
I mean, Michter's is just weird.
Michter's was weird. Now, like I said, we're drinking ryes. What's the best rye? Because we're describing a lot of things that don't taste like rye.
Yes, unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not even really sure. I like my rye. There was very few times where I mentioned mint or dill or anything like that, and there's more to rye than that.
Yeah. There's
but we
many
got-
more ryes
we-
than what we have right here.
But we got very little mint and dill. We got pine sol for me
Yes.
on Michter's a little bit, and then it redeems itself, not totally, but it redeems itself later on, mid palate on. But to me, the winner. I mean, not that we're going for a winner. It's, and maybe this is Proof Hound, 110 proof, Pikesville, Rittenhouse. I enjoyed, but I think it'd be awesome at 100 bottle and bond at 100. I mean, this is 4 years. The Rittenhouse. This is 6 and beyond, but same mash bill theoretically, and with the Pikesville. And so this is for sipping. I'm going to take this.
Yes.
I'm going to take Pikesville for sipping, neat. And honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I take Old Overholt 86 proof for sipping neat next. I believe Rittenhouse is the best mixer, but I've never truly had a Sazerac drink, which Sazerac Rye is in.
Yeah.
So,
Ryan, give your thoughts on here. I'll finish it up.
I think if we're talking about the quintessential rye, which is difficult, I think the Rittenhouse is the most what the majority of people think is rye, but that's my least favorite of all of them.
as far as sipping neat.
Sure. I mean, it can go in drinks and be good. But I don't think rye just should be a cocktail whiskey anyway.
No, I agree. I go.
This
Like
is what-
$20 rise and below. That's generally what they are.
Yeah, and this is what people think of when they think rye if they don't know about rye. The Overholt is phenomenal. I'm
Yes.
really surprised.
For how cheap it is?
It's so good. Highly recommend. I need to go get one. I don't have one.
3 years old. 86
Fantastic.
proof.
Fantastic. The Pikesville is, like I said, explosive. It blasts you. And it's really good. It's not my favorite rye of all time. It's not my favorite whiskey of all time. It ranks not super high to me. In this lineup, it ranks really high.
Yeah.
But I've had better ryes.
Agreed.
So
Sazerac and Michter's, I don't really care. They can take a walk.
So I will say I enjoyed the Sazerac.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So
I didn't dislike it.
but I think that so the Rittenhouse to me, if you want a rye, the Rittenhouse is where it's at. Out of this lineup currently.
A true rye
Yes.
flavor.
Exactly. If you want to taste the rye, Rittenhouse is going to give it to you. Rye is going to be that peppery, that more intense flavor.
But I also feel like this is like the negative stereotype of a rye. And it's not bad, but it's if people don't like rye and they try this,
Yeah.
they're just going to confirm that they don't like rye.
Yes. But the Pikesville is shows you where the rye can get interesting. The Michters shows where the rye can get interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
for sure.
where it kind of gets strange. Is I would like to compare these to other ryes.
Well, we have
We have
plenty of
many.
ryes.
I'm going to say this:
I'm a rye drinker. I
the
enjoy my
Rittenhouse rye is our out of this lineup. It is you want to taste rye? Go ahead, Rittenhouse rye. Nothing wrong with it. Make drinks out of it. Whatever. I'm saying the Sazerac Rye is the best one to sip on.
Really? For you?
It's
Of all of these five?
I would say it's probably going to be the most consistent. The Michter's is already it's a single barrel, so that kind of removes itself from consistency. The Pikesville is intense. I'm not going to have it all the time though. This is an intense bourbon or
well,
rye.
You sort of said it though.
Yeah.
It's 51%
bourbon.
rye, so
Yeah.
it's bourbony.
It's more bourbon. Yeah.
So
The most bourbon you can get with
Sazerac.
bourbon.
That's your history with Sazerac. Alex bought you a shot
exactly.
at Sazerac.
So
But-
in the
but
name
that
of
is-
Alex, I say that Sazerac Rye is the one
Sucks.
you should get.
No. Alex is a great guy.
And you're wrong.
No, I'm sorry. That is the beauty of palates, man. The day, the palate, whatever. I find that this is Buffalo Trace, wrapped in a rye.
So
like,
it's automatically better than everything else in the lineup.
yeah, well, not for me. Truthfully, for me, I'm going to say, there you go.
Yeah. Old Overholt.
And that's, I agree.
Old Overholt. Oh man. I've had
old
5 bottles so far.
Just call it the Mennonite bottle.
The Mennonite bottle. That's so much easier to say.
I want the 114 proof.
yeah.
I
Give me the
cannot get it here.
114 Mennonite
We
bottle.
need
because that sounds
114
great.
proof.
I would like
$30.
114
That's way
Mennonites.
above from everything I've read.
But I will say I am tired of him looking at me. You guys have had the benefit of not this guy looking at you.
He is a little scary.
Yeah.
Krampus.
But this whole
Krampus.
episode, his eyes have been not forward. They've been slightly
sort
to
of
the
like
side.
the Mona Lisa, where it just sort
Exactly.
of follows you or whatever. Yeah,
this
it's
dude is following me, and I feel uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
that's all I gotta say.
I wanna try mixed drinks with Rittenhouse because that is what a lot
Well,
of
you
bartenders
can go to a
recommend.
bar, and I'm sure they'll make it for
They
you.
will.
I would
want
have a
Rittenhouse.
mixed drink
Yeah.
with Kyle Rittenhouse.
So it's this is our first rye episode.
We have.
We have many more.
Well, I don't know about many, but we have
Well,
many.
we could have many, but
Yeah.
that'd
We're
be
not
boring.
doing a series.
We're
We're
not
not
gonna
gonna
do
do a
series.
series.
We'll
But
do
you know,
another
we
one.
might.
We got a lot.
We
I
might
got
do
a
a
lot.
part 2.
I
you
got
know?
part 2 for
Yeah,
sure.
part 2 is definitely coming. So here's the deal.
Alberta Premium.
You got ryes? Let us know. Okay? What is better than what we have here? If you think Michter's is shit, we kind of halfway agree with you. So, don't mention it.
Don't mention it.
But yeah,
It
if you-
redeems itself,
Yeah, if you
sort
got
of,
something
not
interesting,
totally.
let us know with the ryes. We're definitely going to do a part 2. Hell, if there's enough, we might do a part 3. But like the video if you thought this was fun. Subscribe if you want to see our other shit. Okay? And other than
Got
that,
it. Shit.
I think we're done here, boys.